on the beach in Hawaii.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. This is the program all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We're brought to you by B&B Butchers and Restaurant, 1814 Washington Ave in Houston, in the shops at Clear Fork and Fort Worth, and that is the location of the Houston B&B on Washington Avenue is the location for the Whiskey Sniff. Get your tickets while they are still available.
Whiskey Sniff.
Go to eventbrite.com. So this is Smoking and Toasting. My good friend Ian Barry is here. Adam, our producer. My name is Cruz, or as my new grandchild will be calling me very
Gramps.
soon. No, I'm Pops. I know you like calling me Gramps.
I'm going to call you Gramps.
Yeah, I know you are, and that's okay. But I will just say, we'll just give a shout out to my wife who is out at the hospital. We are expecting a grandchild like any moment now.
She
so
is
it's pretty
so
exciting.
excited.
Yeah.
I know you're excited too, but
I am
your wife
excited.
is just bubbling right now.
Yeah, I am excited. Although, like, there's still so much about the whole baby thing that I don't comprehend. So I was just like, I'm gonna just go do Smoking and Toasting, and you let me know. I'm gonna go drink and do the show.
I want to take just a moment for everybody in the audience to just try and picture you changing a diaper.
Oh yeah. Good luck picturing that, because I can't picture it. I'm sure it'll probably happen, but I don't think I'll be very good at it. So, that was spectacular! Wow, you've done well today with the sound effects.
I think, Cruz. I think
You've
you
upped
changing
your-
a
you've
diaper
upped
is
your
going to
game.
sound something like this. Hold my beer. Watch this.
I think me changing a diaper would be like, honey, I will open a bottle of sparkling wine if you will change the baby. I think that's what me changing a diaper will sound like. But I am excited. We are expecting the arrival of Autumn, my first grandchild. So, woo-hoo.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's so
very
awesome.
exciting. Very exciting. So I think we will celebrate and toast with a little Sasquatch Reserve. This is Sasquatch Reserve is something 903 Brewers put out from time to time, but this is a special edition, which is oak-aged Imperial Chocolate Milk Stout. 903 Brewers are located in Sherman, Texas, and we've reviewed some of their reserves on the show before, and they've all been just exceptional. All
This
very big beers, and
Literally smells like a milkshake.
well, it is
Like a chocolate
an
milkshake.
Imperial Chocolate Milk Stout. So I guess that's what it's supposed to smell like, right?
It's pretty amazing, actually.
Mm-hmm. All right. You've done a little bit of research. I don't want to rush you, but I have a feeling beer good.
You know, this is very good. It's still going. Like this is blooming. Even while I'm talking, it's blooming more and more on my palate. It's actually still going.
I'm going to say that up front, when you first take a sip, it's very good, but it doesn't even hint at the complexity that you're going to be experiencing after you swallow.
You almost want to just take a sip of this. Like some things are good that you have to just kind of keep eating them. Like I think that's the whole Cheetos thing, right?
Right. Oh, right. The Cheetos and Doritos.
Like it's good.
same
You
way,
have to keep eating. You have to keep eating. You have to keep eating. This.
You almost want to take a sip and sit back, don't you?
You want to take a sip and finish the sip so you can get to the aftertaste and all the complexity going on there. This is so good.
In the mouth, it's fairly straightforward. But
Yeah.
after, wow.
No, it comes up that milk, that ice cream almost flavor.
It is almost like an ice cream.
Is so in the palate at the aftertaste.
If you took some, vanilla ice cream and basically smothered it in chocolate syrup, that flavor is one of the flavors that you get.
Yes, but then there's also like the burnt caramel flavor.
Yes. Yeah, there's more to it than that. But
like you'd get if you crisp the creme brulee a little bit too much. The other thing that's really strange about this is the mouth feels thinner than I expected.
I agree. I was expecting a bigger...
and that was only startling at first, but like that's why I stopped and had to stare at it for a minute. I was like, what am I drinking here? At 13 point what percent did you say?
13.3.
3%. It's not really that boozy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a little bit on the aftertaste, but not really. The mouthfeel on this is a lot thinner than I would expect, but it doesn't actually detract from any of the flavors because the flavor profile is so robust. And it's more about the aftertaste.
Yeah, it is really more about the aftertaste and the retrohale than it is about the taste when it is actually in your mouth.
Yeah, this is an absolute delight. Thank you guys at 903 for making this.
It would be interesting to compare this to the normal Sasquatch Reserve.
I would.
Side by side.
Yeah.
And see how different, how far did they go with the Imperial chocolate milk stout vibe that's happening, right here on these, because that's pretty outrageous.
The creamy ice creamness of this on the tail end of it is just so interesting.
What do we do with the box? I wonder if there's any info in the box that would be revelatory. Deeply rooted in originality, high quality, and community, 903 Brewers prides itself on solely offering the best to you. So their award-winning beers include the Sasquatch Imperial Chocolate Milk Stout, which took home the silver in the 2015. Well, I'm reading off that other side. So, which took home the silver in the 2015 Great American Beer Festival aged beer category. They say, much like the elusive Sasquatch, our special release brews are tough enough to capture, but make a big impression. So pop the top and knock on a tree.
Sasquatch.
Cheers to an encounter you'll talk about for ages. So very interesting. So yeah, you see the
other side
is
the specific to this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. Age it, drink it, trade it, share it. It says. And that's why you were trying to tell me.
That's specific to this.
I thought you wanted me to show the illustration to the camera. It says they started with their award-winning base, Sasquatch, upped the ABV, and added oak to the process. And bam, we present Sasquatch Reserve. Super complex with notes of cocoa, espresso, oak, and roasted malt.
Oh, yeah.
So drink it with your friends or keep it all to yourself, they say. The choice is yours. This is a really exceptional beer, I think, for sharing. This is one as much as I might want to keep it to myself. Yeah. The fact that you can enjoy this with someone and talk about it is half the fun, I think, on this beer.
Yes.
And a lot of beers are that way, particularly things, that come in bombers. We have a tendency to go, yeah, this is a sharing beer,
Well, that's the thing about a bomber. A bomber is a long-term commitment if you're drinking it by yourself, but if you're sharing it with 1 to 2 people.
Not that I've never made that commitment.
No.
Because I'm a commitment-oriented guy.
I have broken down a few bombers of Brother Thelonious before.
Oh, Brother Thelonious.
I love
Nicely
that beer.
done.
That's so good.
So, are you familiar, Ian, with I Pour It?
No.
So I Pour It is something it's a new technology for bars. And there are a number of bars that have opened up around the country that are.
Is this the one where you pour yourself the beer?
That's right.
I have not seen one around here, but I was at a bar a couple years ago it was a pizza place a couple years ago in New Orleans. I think it was New Orleans, and they had that, and it was the weirdest thing. So the answer is yes, but I didn't realize it.
I just got a text from my best friend Dave, who I was supposed to go to see across Labor Day weekend, but they had that wacky hurricane in Florida. So we postponed, and we'll be going after the first of the year. But he said he found a place for us to go and hang out, and it's one of these places that has the beer where you pour it yourself. So this I Pour It technology, it allows patrons to pour as little or as much as you want. So if you want to pour just really short pours because you want to try a whole bunch of different things.
Oh, it measures it by the ounce or whatever.
Right. It measures it and charges it based on how much you pour yourself. So it's a really cool technology. So anyway, whatever your thoughts are on that, the Self-Pour Beverage Technology Company is able to gather some very interesting sales data. And I Pour It, which is the company that makes this hardware, just released their annual Top Beers and Wines report for 2019 based on over 57.7 million ounces of product poured at 180 different locations.
57.7 million ounces.
Poured at 180 different I Pour It locations. They have been around since 2012. They have poured over 155 million ounces. 90% of that, 94% of that is beer. And so this report is based on the most recent 57.7 million ounces of product. They capture all this key data. Macro lagers top the list, but the percentage is really low. AB InBev's Bud Light and Miller Coors Light account for only 1.8% of the product's that are
Wow.
that people get when they're so. If you've got these choices and you're pouring it yourself, less than 2% of the time are people choosing a Coors Light or
Light or Bud Light.
A Bud Light. Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, I will say some of the craftish beers that are owned by AB InBev, they specifically mentioned Blue Moon and Elysian, sell pretty well. And they are, they're considered for the best of this craft. The top craft beer in this list is a Firestone Walker IPA.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
so,
a great IPA.
Yeah, I mean, they make all their IPAs are so good, and they do all the special series and stuff. But yeah, they've always Firestone Walker, Stone, those guys know IPA very, very well, and they do it well. But if you think about this, you think of these macro beers as being a really huge percentage of the beer community, right? Of what's sold. Mm-hmm. And that still is true to a certain degree. Craft beer is gaining. But what's interesting is when you get into a really ultimate choice situation, they're not being chosen very often.
Man,
Less
that's
than
got
2%
to
of the
give him a
time.
little bit of an ego blow.
Yeah, got to give them a little pause, right?
When Firestone Walker outsells them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a beautiful thing, by the way.
Mhm.
But microbrew
When
or
only
craft brew outsells
less than 2% of the time are people going for either
That's
a Bud
pretty
Light
big,
or a
actually.
Coors
That's
Light
pretty heavy.
when you've got these choices. So now, admittedly, the audience, the customer base is going to be more likely to be craft beer oriented at this kind of an establishment. But still, you can go to plenty of bars that have a really good selection of craft beer, and they're still selling plenty of Coors Light with the Jonas Brothers' faces turning blue. It's happening. I think again, I just think this is another harbinger of what's to come in the world.
I was at Poison Girl. Did I tell you this story? Where I was sitting at Poison Girl.
Every time you mention,
kind of at the end of the bar.
every time you mention that bar, by the way, the Chris Whitley song plays in my head, which is
Yes.
such a great song.
I'm sitting there at the end of the bar with my wife, and this couple walks in, and the girl is very, very bubbly, and she orders 2 Coronas, I think. Anyway, Mexican lagers.
Mm-hmm.
And the bartender goes, "We don't have that." She's like, "Oh, what do you have?" And he goes, "Lone Star." Because they have really good beers and Lone
And
Star.
Lone Star, yeah.
Like, they don't have any of the Mexican lagers. They don't have any of the
Right.
mainstream. Like, they have really good beers and Lone Star. And she goes, "Okay, well, I'll have 2 Lone Stars." And then he goes and gets them, and he comes up and he sets them on the bar. And she looks at him. She just taps the top of her beer. And he looks at her like, "What?" Like, what?
She wanted a
What does that
lime?
mean? And she goes, "Can I get salt and lime, please?" As if he's supposed to know that.
Wow, I didn't know Salt and Lime
With a Lone Star.
was part of the Lone Star.
Not a Mexican
regimen.
lager, but with a
Yeah.
Lone Star.
Yeah. Wow.
So he takes it over there, and he does the salt and lime thing, and he brings it back to her, and she grabs it and kind of walks off, and he's like, "Well, good luck with that."
Yeah.
It was so funny. I was just sitting there cracking up
Yeah,
watching this interaction because he was baffled. When she tapped the top of that, he was absolutely baffled. What
I really
could you
like-
possibly want?
I really like what you say when we're having tequila or Mexican beers. Is that no limes were harmed during the
No salt,
during
no
the-
limes
salt,
were
no limes
harmed
were
during the drinking of this beer.
Ian, as we're wrapping up the show, I would like to encourage you to pour yourself just a little more of this beer.
Oh yeah, hold on a second. Twist my arm.
Okay, no, there's a reason. I'm going somewhere with this, believe it or not, beyond just how good the beer is. Now I would like you to take a sip of it and then go back to your rum.
A sip of it and back to the
Take
rum.
a sip of it and go back to your rum and tell me what changes for you on the rum with that 903 Sasquatch on your palate.
It's really interesting because it blends with the it turns it into a Heath bar.
Yeah, and
Like toffee flavors come out like big time.
and it I don't know, to me it like changed it just completely. Like
Yeah.
it loses that sort of molasses.
Loses a lot of the molasses.
and Heath Bar's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like a toffee with a little chocolate, and then the sherry and the oak are still there.
Mm-hmm.
The oak might actually be enhanced because I think both of them have a whole lot of oak profile on them, which is really interesting. Yeah.
With the rum on your palate, if you go back to the beer, it loses a lot of that chocolate milk vibe.
Yeah, now you taste the burnt caramel very much.
Yes, very much so.
Interesting. I think the sweetness kind of interferes with each other on that one.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I like trying them together, but I'm not sure I'd say they're super complementary.
Well, I like the beer going to the rum better than I like the rum going to the beer because I love the sweetness of the beer, and the rum going back to the beer masks some of that sweetness.
Yeah, maybe keeps it from being quite as obvious. Well, these things are always fun to try to pair, and it's always, we usually try to save our biggest beer for last, and we've often got our spirit, still. We
don't have to do that. We can do the big beer first with a funnel.
I can't imagine if we went with this beer first, then trying to taste the Kolsch and the IPA.
I have a question for you. When's the last time you actually had a funnel of beer? Have you ever done a funnel of beer?
Okay, let me see. I went to college. No, I've never done a funnel of beer.
You've never actually done a funnel?
I've never done a funnel of beer.
We might have to see if the fans would like to see you do a funnel of beer.
Even in my days of drinking macro brews, I had more appreciation for the beer than to consume it that way. See, I was also never a big shotgun guy because I wanted to enjoy the beer a little more than that, I didn't want to just put it all away that fast.
I think that depends on the kind of beer you're having.
You're probably right. If it's PBR, you may want to get it over.
You might want to go ahead and get it over
than later.
Although that stuff's so heavily carbonated that it's tough to shotgun.
Yes.
I've heard.
And that's good to know. That is good to know. All right. We are about to wrap this up here. I want to remind you to get your tickets for the Whiskey Sniff. They are going fast. If you are in the Houston area, come and join us on November the 6th at B&B Butchers and Restaurant. It's a Wednesday night. It's going to be a blast. And
that's going to be amazing.
We're
also,
so looking forward to it.
Don't forget YouTube. Go sign up on YouTube and do us a favor on the YouTube channel. Under this particular segment, leave a vote in the comments if you want to see Cruz shotgun a beer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'll shotgun a beer. I'll do that. I don't know if I'll do the funnel, but I'll shotgun. If you need me to, I'll shotgun. It should be like for charity or something. Right. Remember the ice bucket challenge, like that type of thing.
That's
there be the beer shotgun challenge. I'm sure some Nick Jonas fan will object to that somehow.
Right.
But it could be done.
When the Jonas Brothers' face turns blue, it's good to drink your beer.
2 weeks from today is Halloween. And on the show that we do on Halloween Day, we will do a show on Halloween. It's a Thursday. It's the 31st of October. We're going to do something that I hope will be interesting. We're going to do a pumpkin beer blind taste test. So we will rate the pumpkin beers, tasting them blind. There's so many interesting ones out there. At least they look interesting because I've been buying a few of them and setting them aside.
I haven't bought any actually this year.
Yeah.
Although I have a Pumpkinator from 2 years ago sitting in my fridge.
Now let me ask you: is this the kind of beer that will age, or is
Pumpkinator?
Pumpkinator probably not that good?
Well, so most pumpkin beers are along the darker side, like a porter.
Right.
Or stout. And those always age and generally age well to a degree. However, if you have something on the lighter side, it may not age.
Okay. That makes sense.
But Pumpkinator always ages well. And I have a couple years old Pumpkinator that I could toss into that list.
Well, that'd be fun. And what'll be really interesting is to see if you can tell that it's the Pumpkinator versus the others when we're doing it blind.
Speaking of which, is St. Arnold Pumpkinator out this year? I'm assuming it has to be by now.
It has to be. I haven't seen it, but
I haven't seen it either.
Well, we'll be shopping for pumpkin beers soon so that we can. I figure if we do it on Halloween, there's still, the whole pumpkin thing kind of lives through Thanksgiving, so you'll still have time to go and grab some of these pumpkin beers if you become curious. As to
And I've been busy preparing my my Halloween costume, which will be the Greg Louganis
good.
Halloween costume.
I'll be looking forward to seeing that.
It's nice because it's cheap. It's one piece of clothing.
Yeah, I'll be sporting the Bruce Jenner Halloween costume this year. So, wait, what? Oh, okay. Anyway, we'll be looking forward to the Halloween show. Maybe I'll just do like Batman or something.
Batman.
I'm Batman.
I
want to thank you guys for checking us out this week on Smoking and Toasting, show number 159. And yes, we are already deep in discussion about show number 200 and what that will involve. So we'll maybe share a little bit of that with you next week. In the meantime, have a wonderful week, my friends. We appreciate you being a part of Smoking and Toasting, and cheers.
Cheers.